Hi, I am Jill, and I want to tell you a horrible story about how a medical error has cost me health and sports career. Well, not that I already had a career, but I had some bright future ahead of me, and a lot of passion that, unfortunately, I've lost. Let me tell you what happened. As long as I remember myself, I've always been a huge fan of figure skating. It was my first true love. My family was mocking me all the way. They were all into basketball and football while I was interested only in watching athletes on ice. Well, they thought it was funny. But still, they appreciated my dedication. So when time came to choose some sports club, they brought me to a skating rink without thinking twice. I was so grateful to them. We are not very rich, and this type of sport requires lots of investment. Skates, clothes, all the stuff. But my parents were sure that if someone has a passion, he has to follow it. I was so grateful that I decided once and for all that I would never let them down. My coach wasn't convinced at the beginning. I was pretty big for my age, but then he had to change his mind. I was literally working my socks, or better yet, my skates, off. I knew what I was doing it for. First, I wanted to grow up and do international competitions and become a big skating star like my idols. And second, I wanted to earn lots of money and help my family who spent a lot to help me continue my skating. I was the first one to come to the gym and work out and the last one to leave the ice after endless training of jumps, spins, and all the rest. First with my coach, then on my own. I had quick results. I managed to go to several competitions and win them. I was my coach's favorite student, the one who was more determined than anyone else. However, at some point when I was 11, he started being nervous. "Jill, it's not healthy to train so much. Your muscles and bones need to have a rest. Otherwise they get tired. It can be very dangerous." But I felt fine. What could go wrong? One day I was in the gym training jumps on the floor and landed not very well. I felt acute pain in my foot, but not in the normal place. Somewhere in the middle, as if I had strained my foot. Well, trauma is a normal thing for a person doing sports. It will pass, I thought. But it didn't. I was training on ice, and it hurt so bad that I had tears in my eyes. My coach noticed that something was wrong and asked what was going on. I told him I had slightly hurt my foot, but nothing special. It didn't get better the next day, and I was also limping while walking normally. The coach noticed it and was furious. I had a huge competition ahead and I had to train every day. I was supposed to be more attentive. I had to go to a doc to check my foot. He made an x-ray but didn't see anything there. My foot was fine. That was a relief. I could turn back to training. But the pain didn't go away. I didn't deliver and my coach was furious. He said I was lazy because I didn't manage to make a simple spin. I was not lazy. It hurt. I burst into tears and told my coach about my problem. He thought that second opinion would be useful and made an appointment with a specialist he knew. You know what? The same results. Examination, x-ray, nothing. Situation went worse. It was hard to walk, let alone skate. I made other visits to the doctors and they all repeated, "Nothing, nothing, there's nothing." I thought I was going mad. I visibly had no trauma, so I had no excuse to refuse training and let everyone down. My coach, my parents, and myself. I had to be composed to compete at my top. A victory could open the way to the national team. I just couldn't tell everyone that those years of trainings had been in vain. But once, after a particularly high toe loop, I landed and understood that I couldn't take that pain anymore. Seemed that someone had stabbed me in my foot. Our sports doctor ran up to me and brought me to his study and made an x-ray. Guess what? Bingo! Nothing. Nothing at all. I had to wait until that pain passed and returned back to the skating rink where I understood that there was no way for me to go on training, even with all my motivation. My coach was really scared on the one hand and pissed on the other, sure that I was simulating in order to have some rest. That was offensive. My last chance was MRI. My coach made an appointment, and I went there sure that I would again receive a "You're healthy," as usual. The checkup went on for 6 hours. The verdict was horrible. I had a stress fracture of a navicular bone. In brief, a navicular bone is a tiny bone in the top part of your foot, and a stress fracture means that it got broken because I trained too much and it simply got fragile. It would have needed a small period of healing, but it had happened several months before, and as it had never been cured, the bone fragments were all around my foot, everything inflamed. There will be no happy ending. This fracture is not visible on the X-ray, but the doctors never considered any other tests and just insisted that everything was all right with me. I was operated on. The surgeons practically reconstructed my foot from scratch, and I had to learn to walk anew after the operation. And this medical error cost a lot to lots of people. My coach, who lost his best student, my parents, who made all those sacrifices in vain, and me. The work of my life was ruined, and my dream to be a big skating star will never come true. Good part of it is that I'm alive. I walk all right. I am not disabled. But to be honest, it is so damn hard for me to be positive. Maybe you know stories like mine that have a happier ending? Tell them in the comments. Take care of yourself and don't overwork like I did. Share it with your friends so that everyone is warned.